He's going to heat up a small portion that removed itself, and then he'll place it back onto the surface of the glass. As you can see, the glass, if it starts to chill in certain areas, it will crack. And in this case, it just cracked and popped out of the eye portion of the mask. So he'll heal it by adding the piece back to the void. That little hot torch, it gets the glass nice and hot in certain areas to where it'll fuse back in with the rest of the piece. Welcome to the Hot Shop for those of you who are just joining us. Today in the Hot Shop, we have been creating masks, and these masks are derived from the wooden mask on the table there. They're inspired by the wooden mask that Joe David created. We have a collective of artists working with us. They're known as the NCN Collective, and they'll be creating with us over the next 2 weeks here in the Hot Shop. On the 20th, we will have a hot night celebrating the artists, and they'll make a one-of-a-kind special piece from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And if you reserve and get tickets now, the first drink will be on us, and you can come and hang out and experience this collective creating together. I'd like to give a special thank you to Jake Price. This is a Feel Their Fire residency. Jake Price was the residency sponsor, and so Feel Their Fire is a program we have here which then enables artists to be able to create, take pieces home, and explore different ideas here in the Hot Shop. Currently, you'll see here at the bench, he's using this hot torch to concentrate the heat in a specific area to be able then to sculpt into the material to create fine characteristics of the face. This is a mask we're creating similar to the one on the table there, with the red lips. When he uses that hot torch, you'll see the glass starts to glow that really pretty orange color. That means it's getting super hot, which means it's also super soft, which allows him to use his tools to do external or internal sculpting techniques. While working, that piece needs to stay above 1,000 degrees, and so you'll see she has these paddles to shield him because the piece is probably closer to about 2,000 degrees while he's sculpting it. My name is Emily. If you all have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer your questions. We have the NCN Collective with us working in the Hot Shop this week, and thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here at the Museum of Glass. So I have a really good question of how does the process start? And in this process specifically, what we did was we began by laying color over a clear bubble. All of the glass that we gather from the furnace is clear, so we have to apply color during the process. And so to learn a little bit more about how we started with this mask, we added 2 bars of color, which is known as the color overlay process. And then they sifted powder glass onto the surface. So can we see the color overlay video to learn a little bit more about how we started this piece?
The color in glass comes from adding various materials to the mixture of raw ingredients called batch. Most of the colorants are compounds containing some kind of metal. For example, adding cobalt to clear glass creates a deep blue. Tin and antimony can be used to create white glass, and gold chloride can produce a rich red or pink colored glass. Colored glass is melted in furnaces, just like clear glass, and then is usually rolled into bars for storage and easy application. In order to apply color bar to a bubble, we first need to preheat the color to approximately 950 or 1000 degrees Fahrenheit in a color oven or garage. Once warm, the color is then picked up on the end of a punty rod using a little bit of clear glass as a support. The color is then heated in the 2300 degree glory hole to soften it and make it malleable, while another artist creates a small bubble of clear glass on a blowpipe. Once warm, the color is dropped over the clear bubble, and then using a variety of hand tools or the steel marver, the color is rolled back over the clear in an even layer. This process is called dropping color, or creating a color overlay. Depending on the project, that bubble is then usually gathered over with clear glass and blown into the final form. The finished product may appear to be all made from colored glass, but when viewed in cross-section, we can see that there is only a thin layer of color sandwiched between many layers of clear glass.
So as they're working, you'll see that they'll go in and out of the reheating chamber. The reheating chamber is designed to keep the piece evenly heated throughout. Can we see the glory hole diagram? So the glory hole is powered by natural gas and forced air. It's used to reheat the glass to keep it from breaking, and it rests at 2,300 degrees. The hollow fire brick within this barrel can withstand those very high temperatures. Thank you. So I have a really good question of like what is this space designed for? It's designed for artists from different backgrounds to apply, to come and work with the team to create, and so you are allowed to have a very close look at a process in which you maybe wouldn't come by every day. And so it's a public space for people to be able to see artists working in a studio together. And so when it was created, they didn't want it to be specifically designed for glassblowers only to create, so artists from different mediums come and they apply, and then they come and create here in the hot shop. Recently, we had a lady that was a paper artist, and so she did a lot of paper cutting, and she created here in the hot shop with the team. And so it's a hot shop designed for blowing glass, creating in glass. That's a great question. So the reason why that they use the torch to heat the end portion of the rod there is because that part needs to stay just as hot as the rest of the of the piece, and that area goes into the reheating chamber last, and it comes out first. And so they torch it to make sure that it's just as hot as the rest of the piece to keep the piece evenly heated to prevent cracking. So now we're at a point in the process where we will transfer off this piece from the initial pipe we started on to a transfer rod to be able to work on the opposite side. So on the far left side of the hot shop, they're creating a connection point to place at the top of the head. So they'll use a torch to make sure that that low point is nice and hot. When he lays water over the surface of the glass, thermal shock will set in, and then when he taps the pipe, the vibrations will help release the mask from the initial pipe we started on. A little water over the surface, and he'll tap it and release the mask.